Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Labor Day broadcast of the I'm Only Serious News Network's Sunday paper program. Putin's the shooting at Ukrainians nowadays. Listen to me, or you die, you will see, is all he has to say. But all's not bad in a world full of sad, since Israel and Hamas have called it quits. And stay out of Africa if you don't want Ebola attacking you, is my advice today. Back here at home where the buffalo roam, all's quiet in Ferguson now. The protesters are gone and the investigation moves on why a teenager was gunned down. And the summer of 2014 was just flat out mean if you were the president of the US of A. ISIS in Iraq, Ukraine under attack. No wonder his hair's turning gray. Cracker, please. Now comes the fall, which means most of all, that the kids will be heading to school. That would be fine, as long as their time won't be spent in the Philly one. That's not cool. These stories and more with Smarmy's Brown Eye on the World, Rice's Gamers News and Updates, Darren's Movie Views and Reviews, and Rob Watkins will be giving us some viewer mail feedback. All this and more tonight on the I'm Only Serious News Network Sunday paper program.
It's the I'm Only Serious News Network with Dan Mahan, John Smarmy, John Rice,
Rob Watkins,
and Darren Martinez.
Police in Ferguson, Missouri are finished battling with protesters and other troublemakers amongst them, i.e. the other police. As if to show signs of less force in their final battles, the cops were using rubber bullets when firing on American citizens. Of course, they never did try the WWJD, as in, what would Jesus do? He wouldn't fire rubber bullets, I can tell you that. Meanwhile, the state prosecutors formed a grand jury made up of, well, let's face it, mostly white people, to investigate. That should calm everyone down. In fact, the jury has already interviewed a dozen witnesses to the shooting, which, when they checked the stats, was a dozen more witnesses than any other shooting that was had in St. Louis in the last 5 years. You know, the snitching deal. And cracker crazy grandmom in Florida shot and wounded her 7-year-old grandson, whom she mistook for an intruder. The good news is the boy survived, and he and his other siblings are now doing all their chores on time and eating everything grandma cooks for dinner. Speaking of crazy shootings, a shooting instructor in Arizona was shot and killed this week when a 9-year-old girl he was teaching how to shoot a Uzi automatic machine gun fell backwards from the force of the gunfire and shot him. Yeah. The sad part was the poor girl missed her parents, who really needed to be shot, and dumbasses. A New York man cleared of killing a rabbi after 15 years in jail has been awarded $10 million in a settlement with the city. Now, he already won $3 million settlement with the state. $13 million? That's almost $1 million a year for his time in prison. Now, cracker, please. I'm not going to prison to get raped. But if he's get paying $1 million a year, you could sign me up. No doubt about it. Also, Governor Rick Perry of Texas, speaking of criminals, posed for his mugshot this past week as he was charged with corruption. That's like charging a zebra for having stripes, isn't it? I mean, cracker, please, let's face it. If you're an elected official anywhere in the US of A, you've corrupted somebody somewhere. And he did take off his phony glasses when he took his mugshot, by the way. More bad news for the Rebel Casino in Atlantic City. If things weren't already bad with the eventual closing later this month of September, they lost money too. Not the normal way through gambling, but when the armored truck that was there to pick up the cash proceeds left the bag on top of the truck roof and then drove off. Yeah. Video showed the bag on top, but hasn't been seen since. Go figure. A judge in New York has dismissed a lawsuit filed by the makers of the 1972 film Deep Throat, who claimed that the suit was claiming because a 2013 biofilm of Linda Lovelace, the star of the movie, was a copyright infringement. Now, the judge made his decision after reviewing both films, which he said took him 3 hours and a box of tissues. Speaking of court, the Supreme Court stepped in to halt the same-sex marriages in Virginia, where the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Fourth Circuit had ruled against the ban. He did put an addendum on there where the Virginia Beach Tourism Bureau, who always tout Virginia is for lovers, must now say, as long as you're not gay. Yeah. Come on down. Finally, in some national news, a worker on the TV show Cops, America's longest running reality show, was shot and killed by, who else? Cops. Go figure. That's getting too close to the action, fella. Yeah, apparently it says here that police officers who opened fire while disrupting a robbery at a fast food restaurant killed a crew member of the Cop show. Yeah, apparently he was in line getting food as well. Go figure. In international news, Japan's military recently wanted to show its ability to defend its remote islands on last Tuesday by launching several missiles. Yeah. And in keeping with the Japanese tradition, each missile had a soldier aboard. Go kamikaze. Iraqi forces tried to retake the town of Tikrit from the Islamist extremists of ISIS, that radical group, but were turned back when its forces threw sticks and stones and hurtful name-calling. Yes, they do hurt. Now 2 other militant groups are staging attacks in the Middle East and have taken 12 UN peacekeepers hostage. President Obama is in a bind whether to bomb those humps inside Syria too, since it would also benefit that hump-ass run in Syria, Bashar Assad. Feeling like he's stuck between Iraq and a hard place, like that, Obama must decide between the lesser of 2 evils. Here's a suggestion. Stop buying oil from these jackwipes and arm Israel to the teeth. They're going to need it once we pull out. Meanwhile, Vlad the Mad Putin has stepped up his game in the Ukraine, sending soldiers with tanks and artillery into the eastern Ukraine area. And although several Russian paratroopers have been taken prisoner, old Vlad still denies these claims. He's also denied that Stalin killed his own people or that his favorite color is red. So, believe who you want. In India, the city of Mumbai has reopened its Jewish prayer center that was closed 6 years ago after the terrorist attack on that town, which killed 165 people. Amongst those killed was a rabbi and his pregnant wife. Now, their infant son was saved by their Indian nanny, who now lives in Israel. She was bestowed with an honorary citizenship for her courageous act, now known as a Shimmership. A Shimmership. Meanwhile, Scotsmen around the world will be sending in their ballots starting this week to determine whether or not to remain part of the UK. The vote in Scotland is scheduled for September 18th. Most have said they will be voting to succeed from the UK, echoing the words of the famous William Wallace, "Freedom!" followed by the often quoted word, "Fuck the Queen." So, there you go. I got a brother who's Scottish. And finally, Mexican President Enrique Pena Nieto came to LA this week to deliver a speech on U.S.-Mexican relations. Afterward, the IMS took him back to the border and threw him back over the fence. See you later, alligator. But with more news around the country and around the world, our very own John Smarmy. Smarmy?
Thanks, Dan. Happy Labor Day to everybody out there. I unfortunately had to work. Had to write for 5 minutes today. Holiday, if you say so. Anyways, let's see what we got going on here. A T with an extremely long neck, he has 10 vertebrae to be exact, plans to undergo surgery. I guess this kid doesn't want to take upskirt pics. That's what I would do if I had a very long neck. But hey, what are you gonna do? Speaking of surgery, comedian extraordinaire Joan Rivers almost loses her life while they're going under the knife. Again, she was trying to get wrinkles removed under her neck. Joan, you're old. It's enough. This is a sign from God that you can stop and let nature take its course. You're 81 years old. let it go. I doubt she's gonna watch this show. Who cares? Timmy Live says that's right. Criminal female trio hide stolen Rolexes in their vaginas. That's right. They stole 2 Rolex watches from some male tourists at the Encore Hotel in Las Vegas. They had sex with the 2 men while they were distracted. They put the watches up the old gash hole. After seeing the pics of these 3 thieves, I would tell them to keep the watches. If Don Ivan saw their pictures, he would agree they're nappy-headed hoes. Can't get in trouble for that. That was ages ago. Teacher in trouble for tweeting she wants to stab students. Every teacher that read that story said, "What's the problem? I feel like that every day I teach a bunch of retards." Sorry, mentally challenged. We can't say that here. Smarmy Labor Day tip. Don't drink faucet water. Spend the money and buy spring water. More pure, and they had brain eating Ebola in this water. Don't be a walker this Labor Day. Spend the money, folks. Man with 100-pound scrotum to get mass removed. That guy has a lot of balls. Literally, let me tell you, folks, if you see that picture, it looks like 2 big beanbags in his pants. Ridiculous. And finally, middle school teacher John Vistas arrested on the first day of school for child porn charges. They found out without Chris Hansen. I am outraged. Not what he did, that he didn't wait till he's a month. You gotta get settled in. And folks, that is all I have for the news. Dan, what else is on the show? John Smarmy. I'm only serious news.
Thank you, Smarty. In local news, Mayor Nutter Butter Peanut Butter is closing out yet another summer with his Made in America celebration down on the Parkway in front of the Art Museum. He can't afford to adequately fund an education for school kids, but man, he can sure throw a hell of a party. Also in Philadelphia, U.S. Representative Chaka Fata has been getting Chaka Fata lately. Turns out he's embezzled over $1 million out of his campaign funds. Now, he hasn't admitted it yet because no one can track him down. But recently his chief of staff and his campaign finance guy have both pleaded guilty to embezzling funds to pay off his son's education, you know, things that are necessary. So he'll be joining Governor Rick Perry soon in the old clinker. And for some entertainment news, let's turn to our very own Darren Martinez with his movie views and reviews. Darren?
Thanks, Dan. I saw some movies this weekend. Well, some movies on DVD. I saw Knights of Badassdom with Peter Dinklage and Steve Zahn. I think I might have talked about it last time, but I've seen it a couple times this week. It's just a great film. Go check it out. But more importantly, this Sunday, I just watched Ghostbusters 30th anniversary.
Oh, wow.
It's back out in the movie theaters, and I had a great time. I enjoyed it more than I've ever enjoyed it, because I've never had an opportunity to watch it in theaters. I think it was released in 1984, and I was only 2 years old, so there's no way my dad would have taken me. Hopefully he did not take me and ruin that experience for everyone else, because I didn't have that experience ruined for me today.
Did they add more scenes to it or anything, J.R.?
No, it was just remastered. You know, it was it looked a lot better. And there was one cool thing that I did notice, and that was like the row in front of me. There was a family. They had like 2 real young kids, maybe like 6 or 7 years old, and these kids were going crazy. They were cheering, they were clapping. I mean, it was kind of weird when the one scene when Dan Aykroyd gets the ghost head.
Yeah.
But you know, we had to eventually watch that scene when we were kids. So I mean, Ghost Head and Ghostbusters though. So of course, this week I'm gonna recommend go and check out the Ghostbusters franchise, just because it's the 30th anniversary. It's an excellent film. If you haven't seen it, then there's a bridge in Philadelphia called the Tacony Palmyra Bridge. I want you to drive over to it, park your car, then immediately jump off the bridge. But you can watch the film now, and then you don't have to do any of that.
That's not a high bridge, you won't die.
Yeah, so you can do it maybe a couple times until you watch the film, week after week. Second film I want to recommend is just going off the Ghostbusters theme. There's rumors of a third one, and Paul Feig, I think his name is, he's been casted, he's been hired as the director, and he directed Bridesmaids.
That's easy for you to say.
Yeah, he directed Bridesmaids, Paul Feig, and so people are saying like there's rumors that Ghostbusters 3 might be an all-female Ghostbusters, which is that's scary.
Did we know Ghost Head in that one?
Yeah, maybe not. No, you never know. But so the second film I want to recommend is Zombieland, because this is the last time you'll see Bill Murray wearing that proton pack in a film. You know, I don't think he's gonna come back. You know, but yeah. So, but next week, you know, I'm already looking forward to next week's film I'm gonna check out. Is called Annabelle. It's a doll. It's a killer doll, and it's a film that it's a spin-off film from the Conjuring. I don't know if you saw The Conjuring.
Yeah.
But yeah, just cheesy horror film. I think I reviewed it when I saw it that weekend. But here's a spin-off called Annabelle, and so the third film, final film I want to recommend you check out this weekend is Child's Play 2, because it's one of my favorite killer doll films.
Yeah.
You know, I was gonna recommend Child's Play 1, but right now I can't find it. You know, I might have lent it out to Jonathan Rice, one of our co-anchors, or Smarmy.
Man.
Smarmy might have it. You know, Smarmy is also a fan of the horror films. You know, I think, I don't know.
How about that new one that's coming out? It's where they go underground or something in Paris? Seen it?
Oh, So Below, As Above, or something
Yeah,
like
right.
that. Yeah. The title alone is enough to make me not want to see the film. It's already got me confused. So I'm not gonna check that out. Next week I'll check out Annabelle. I'll get back to you on that. But that's all I got for you this weekend. Check out those 3 films, and back to you, Dan.
All right. Thanks, Darren. In sports this week, what turned out to be a heel story but started as a hero story. That's right. A defensive back from the USC college program originally explained his decision to jump from a second-floor balcony, which injured both his legs, was to rescue his 7-year-old nephew from drowning in the pool below. Originally. Police stated at the time that a report of a Joshua Shaw matching the player's name was filed by a woman saying he was trying to break into her second-floor apartment. Guess which story is true? Cracker, please. Also, in NASCAR, Tony Stewart has made his return to the NASCAR racing circuit after a 3-week layoff. He took it after running down and killing a young racer in a New York dirt track. His pit crew, though, has been warned not to jump over the wall until he's come to a complete stop. Yeah, just in case. The NFL is getting underway this week after a summer of rules, changes, and suspensions. Josh Gordon, for instance, of the Cleveland Browns, their #1 receiver from a year ago, was given a 1-year suspension for smoking weed. Yeah, 1-year suspension. Meanwhile, Ray Rice of the Baltimore Ravens was given a 2-game suspension for domestic violence for knocking out the bitch who was his fiancée at the time, and then dragging her out of the elevator in which he knocked her out in. The Eagles' Lane Johnson, he was given a 4-game suspension for taking PEDs, performance-enhancing drugs. The Ravens' Ray Rice, 2 games for knocking out his fiancée. The 49ers' Alden Smith, their #1 linebacker, was given a 6-game suspension for a DUI and smoking weed. In Baltimore, the Ravens' Ray Rice, 2 games for knocking out a woman. Cracker, please. Philly fans were happy to hear that the season's almost over. My lord, can't watch another pitch of that crap. Meanwhile, the 76ers continue to ship their healthy players to European teams, ensuring yet another losing season, better known in the Philadelphia region as tanking. And it won't be long, folks. Only a few more weeks away before NHL hockey camps open. That's right. And although we won't have Michael Sam playing for our beloved Flyers, we do have Claude Giroux, who likes to pat down male officers' buttocks. Yeah, here we go for another big Flyers season. Next up for us is our gaming news and report from our very own John Rice. John?
Thanks, Dan. John Rice here. No relation to Ray Rice, but we all know what happens now when you mess with the Rice family. Anyway, I want to talk about one thing, a couple things. I want to talk about DLC for GTA 5. There is some more coming up. There's a Halloween DLC coming out, which is going to be cool. Hopefully it's called Trick and Treat, apparently. I don't know. But supposedly it has zombies in it, which is going to be cool because everything else has zombies in it these days. But, you know, as gamers, we're all really anticipating the heist still. be able to create your own heists, or even just do heists and just, steal money. We all like stealing money. So supposedly it's gonna be out the end of September, but we all been nervous, wondering if after this DLC comes out, whether or not the game's gonna have any replay value, or if we're just gonna get bored with it after a month and throw it away. GTA was wondering the same thing. So they talked to the press and told them, nope, you're gonna be playing this game for years, or at least until you get bored with it and try GTA 6, which is gonna be coming out. Anyway, we also have DLC for Mario Kart 8, which is pretty cool. You can download Zelda, or Link from Zelda, I'm sorry. But I don't get why he's riding a motorcycle. I don't remember riding a motorcycle in the game. Unless that was downloadable content back then too, but I don't remember. Yeah. Back to GTA 5, also downloadable content will be more sports games. Like we all know how they have golf and tennis and all that. Well, now there will be BMXing, playing pool, and basketball. So you can forget about going out and buying any other basketball games or BMX games, because now it's all in one game. It might be good. Hopefully. We'll see. Anyway, also with all these Marvel movies coming out, there's going to be a DC movie coming out, which is going to be hopefully okay, I hope. But if you're going to go and watch that, go out and pick up Injustice. It's a DC Universe game where you can pretty much, it's the Mortal Kombat of the DC world. You can go and pick up any character you want and beat up other characters. It's okay. Thanks, Dan. Back to you.
Thanks, Rice. I guess the world of sports and stealing cars are coming one and the same. I don't know if you guess you can have a football game where they beats the shit out of his girlfriend and then jumps in and steals a car, smokes some weed, and gets more than 2-game suspension. That's the way I'm looking at it. A little bit of other news real quick. Robin Williams' suicide recently, which shocked everyone, was from his depressions and struggle with addictions, with alcohol and drugs. My advice, if you're in that state of mind, stay on the alcohol and drugs, because he was a happy man then, wasn't he? He wasn't going to kill himself when he's high. Cracker, please. And I don't know if you know this yet, but the Ice Bucket Challenge that has been sweeping the nation and raising great funds for the ALS Society, there's now a new challenge. It's called Pull Your Fucking Pants Up. It's designed to see if we can't get some of these urban youth to stop showing their fucking heinies out everywhere they go. I'm all in for that one. But we're going to wrap things up tonight with a segment of our viewer mail. And with us to take care of that tonight is our very own Rob Watkins. Rob?
Thanks, Dan. Yes, I was given the viewer mail. I flew in from Sydney, Australia. I'm going to fly back tonight to finish my vacation, but it was important I come here and read the viewer mail. First question we have for you tonight is for John Rice, and it's an anonymous question. It's, what do you think about the movie Prowl? John? It's coming in.
That was an HBO movie. Horrible. God, it sucked. That girl's just walking around. I don't know if she can jump out of story buildings. I don't get it. Vampires are in a put. I don't get it. Don't watch it. Watch something else.
Thank you, John. I haven't seen it, but I thought it was a interesting title to be on the prowl.
Especially spelled with an H.
Right. Yes. That is correct. Another anonymous question is for our very own Darren Martinez. It is, what is your favorite Woody Harrelson film? Darren?
That would be White Men Can't Jump. For the reason why it was my introduction to Woody Harrelson. Thank you.
Mine was Cheers, yes, as well. But it was great that he couldn't jump.
Well, that's a TV show, right? Mine was, what was that? Natural Born Killers.
Nice. Mine was
Freaking that.
mine was probably Natural Born Killers as well. Maybe. But
I'll say everything I say.
yeah. I didn't know another film he was in. I saw him in True Detective. He was pretty good.
I heard he's good in that.
Yeah. But this one's to me. It says, do you have any information to the whereabouts on the hiding of Pierre LaPierre? I'm sure Dave Morrow would love to know. I haven't really met Dave Morrow. I've seen him around places, around town. I don't know exactly who Lapierre is, but I do drink Lapierre the beverage sometimes, so maybe he'll come find me by my drinking of that beverage. So I need some research on this Lapierre. So I could speak the language though, maybe. I don't know, I can fake it.
Well, you drink his water, you're supporting him.
Yeah, I know, and that's why he's mysterious. But this one's to you.
You better hope it's water.
This one says, who do you think can win a fight drunk, kung fu style, between Tony Viejo and both of our own, Tony Viejo and Rick Verboten?
I'm gonna fight. I'm gonna have to go with Tony Viejo, who does practice MMA at his gym. Where Rick doesn't practice anything. I'm only serious, Rick.
You heard it. Let's get this going. Halloween night. So you heard it here first, folks. This guy.
UFC.
This one comes from Samantha Laser of Branson, Missouri. She writes to Tim Eli, has he got any of his material from Yakov Smirnoff? Well, she wants to know because he's a local town hero, and they just wanted to know if he wanted to come out and do some material for him. So you have an open invitation, Tim.
Nice.
It's good. So, yeah, Branson's a hell of a town, and I love Yakov's stuff. In Russia, car drives you. It's good. This one's written from Angelina Pitt of Beverly Hills, Oregon.
Oregon.
She writes to John Rice, what is with your cousin Ray Rice? And she says, as we all know what's going on, is he going to have a good fantasy football year? So John Rice, I don't know if you can answer that question.
That bitch needs to get knocked out.
Well, we all know what happens when we ask Ray Rice questions and you're a female.
Yeah.
Watch yourself.
Watch yourself.
It's gonna be great in fantasy football.
Looks like we have a person here. A final question for us tonight. It comes from, is this right? Check with the, yep, okay. It's from Queen Latifah of Queens. Laquifa. Oh, I almost thought it was
That's
right. So you get, yeah, thank you for the closer eyes. Queen Laquifa of Queens, New York asks, what's up with y'all? Remember that bachelor party stripper y'all hired for Smari and y'all ran train on me? And well, I'm in need of y'all to come back tomorrow next week. I guess that's an open-ended question. We gotta go back to you, Dan. I don't know about this.
Oh, it's the Maury show they want you on.
Okay. Well, I haven't partied with Laquifa.
I'm guessing it's
for a while,
Smarmies right off the bat. It was his party. It's his child.
Well, that wraps up Mail Review Bag tonight. Thank you, guys. Take care, America.
Thanks, Rob. Well, that about wraps up this week's program for you. And remember, school's starting this week, so keep it slow and keep your eyes on the road. Not doing any texting or anything. You don't want to crash over any little kids like Tony Stewart did. Thank you, and see you all next week.